What is up, guys? Technical Stinkers here, back at our home 3D printing operation. So if you're unfamiliar, because I still get a lot of comments about it, and I don't fault anybody, new subscribers coming in, they're not sure what I'm really doing here. I'm a small business owner. My business has nothing to do with 3D printing, but I recently got into it, and I was like, hey, maybe I can like spin this up and put this in my warehouse, because I have this great big warehouse, lots of free space. And I was like, I could put 3D printers in there, but I didn't want to jump the gun and do it too fast. I need to prove the concept works. So I'm doing it here at home, in my garage, in my office, and seeing if I can get some sales going, and if I can scale it up to that point to where I'm like, okay, I really need to like take this to the next level, then I can do it. Figured I'd YouTube, because I YouTube elsewhere, and kind of document this journey. It's pure exposition. It's not a how-to. I'm a complete novice. So send your love, send your hate in the comments below, because engagement is engagement. What am I working on today? Well, we're gonna take a look out in the building, because I'm gonna throw some paint on one of the big D20 cubes. Got a brand new character model going in here. Just finished up the painting on it. Already had some failures on it, but we're rotating it, playing around with it, trying to get it right. The final section of the big nuclear bomb, hopefully finishing up without issue, and I can glue it all together and paint it. Over here on the Soval SV08, our newest edition. Everything's run fine on the Soval that I've put through it. Now, I haven't been running it a lot, and a lot of people saying, you know, these are a nightmare. I've seen that they're terrible. I've seen that they screw up all the time. You know, aside from the opening hiccups from when I first got the machine, you know, it's been fine. Everything that I've thrown at it has worked out well. We did have the filament change issue, but that was kind of a big model, and I should have really been running that with a bigger spool. But right now I'm doing a couple of those rolling trays that I had mentioned a few videos back. I'm going to hopefully just give those away at my shop. And so I'm seeing if I can, you know, what the capability is of the machine. I could fit 4 on this build plate, but I'm just running with 2 now, just in case there's issues. Running it without support, running it at a medium-ish layer height, because if this is going to be a production item, there's no need for me to like print it at a very fine layer height, especially if I'm giving it away for free. Also doing a couple more over here on the Cobras, just to see how they turn out with the same settings. Down here on the P1P, our character model is approaching the final area, the final few layers. Certainly some terracing on here, but this is really another test for support settings. So optimistic about that. We did have a scary moment where it stopped printing. I got the notification that the front cover fell off, and I'm like, that can't be good. And it's because the discharge chute at the back had been gummed up with this. And you know, I've seen this before. If this gets too out of hand, then you know, it can start making its way up into the innards of the print head and really cause you a lot of headaches. So don't throw that on the floor, you freaking slob. Put it where it's supposed to go. It completely slipped my mind, the discharge on this, because if you've got a bamboo with an AMS, you know it puts out a ton of flush, a ton of discharge. Some people call it poop, but I think that's one of the ugliest words I've ever heard. I hate that word. So I call it discharge or flush, and I forgot to account for that. So I got a little collection going back there. I'm gonna need to get a little box or something. Hey, maybe I could 3D print something. Maybe a little conveyor belt that brings it over here and dumps it out, and my dogs can eat it when they're on the way outside. So just a couple more things to wrap up with today. I want to go throw a coat of paint on that D20 cube, because I think I got a kind of cool idea for some paint on it. All right, so out here in the building, this is the black D20. Went ahead and put 1 coat of it. Now, like I said, I don't like doing post-production, but I accept the fact that I'm gonna have to do some. So what I'm gonna do is, for these D20 cubes, I'm just gonna print them in the color that they will be offered in, except for one variation, and that's this stone effect, this textured granite, because I feel like that might be a popular choice. No one suggested it in the comments like I asked. I mean, what are you guys even doing? But I feel like, you know, kind of like a stone effect might be pretty cool. It'll probably take several coats, and I think, like, you know, I'll have some areas in here that won't be fully coated, but having the black underbase, I think will kind of give it some shadowy effect. So I'm just going to throw another coat on this. I'm not sure how many it will ultimately take, but I still think it'll look pretty cool regardless. One downside to this paint is it seems to go pretty quick. I don't know if this is a bad can. I've never used this stuff before, but it just doesn't seem like it's really getting on there. But when it dries, it kind of does. So very easy for it to run though. And that's kind of a bummer. And I can kind of feel this. I mean, I didn't put a lot of paint on this and it's getting light. And this shit was expensive. It was like $7-8 for a can. So, but hey, we just factor it into the cost, right? No way. Wow. I got 1.5 coats out of this can before it's spent. That's yikes. And you know, that stone effect I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, even from this distance, you can kind of see it back there. Looks like a rock. I mean, and that, you know, that could be pretty cool for someone who's, I mean, again, what is this used for? Dungeons and Dragons, something like that? While I'm out here, since I talk about my other channel and my crypto mining stuff all the time, I 3D print a lot of stuff for the crypto miners. It's what I chiefly sell on my Etsy, but figured I'd show you guys my little mining room in here. So obviously the audio quality is garbage, but these stands I sell, these kind of hold computers upright so you can fit more of them in a tight area. So I got all of these in here. They're all in PET G, all with a very thick infill. They're super rigid because it will get hot in here. Not so much now because it's going into winter. It's kind of cool. But all those I 3D printed. Fan shroud, my best selling item ever. Wasn't even my design, but I talked to the guy that made it and they said it was okay. So I sell those as well. And also the adapters that fit these fans onto the ASICs. I designed these. And so those fit pretty good. I've got these silencers on here and I maybe not have these on my Etsy, but I printed these bolt onto the back of ASICs, and I put this, I always forget, polyester-based foam. It's an open cell foam. It does really well at masking the high pitch frequency of ASICs, because right now, if you've ever seen these crypto miners before, you know they get really, really loud. Really high-pitched whines, especially when they get hot. So I put these on here, and it actually brings the noise down considerably. These over here are on those other types of fans, and that keeps them running swimmingly. All right, so we got that done. I'm gonna let these run and maybe get another couple of those rolling trays started on Cobra number 2, or maybe just give it a rest for a while. Cobra 3 looks like it might need some adjustment, maybe another auto level, because the stuff that's on it is not looking particularly good. But we'll see how it comes out anyway. So I'm going to kick it over to my future self tomorrow morning to see the progress on things, how things are working out, and I'll just send that over to you, future Matt, right now. And it is the next morning, checking in on what happened through the course of the night. We've got this one still going over on Cobra 4, had to do a filament change. This one on Cobra 3 came out. Let's take a look at it. Now we did the same settings on the Cobra as the Sobol SV08. Not bad. I mean, you can see the layer lines, but again, this is kind of like a semi-functional print that I'm gonna give away. And so I didn't put in like super fine layer height. The top layer, because this is like a tray thing, the top layer, some long sort of, you know, maybe some slight, you know, it's not as clean as it possibly could be, but I think this is perfectly acceptable. Let's see what the Sobol did. We did these in orange. Let's see if we can get a 1-for-1 here, apples to kumquats, and some decent lighting. Decent lighting is not sort of the thing I really have in abundance here. Kind of harder to tell. The lighter the color, the harder it is to tell, but just upon visual inspection, looks really clean to me. And then that top layer, certainly much better. So I think that's like a perfectly suitable layer height. You know, some brim around the edges, but I have a little deburring tool that I use for that. Comes off the build plate, just it doesn't even pop off. It's just already like lifted off. Over here on the A1, obviously it failed, but I kind of was thinking like maybe there was like a 50-50 shot of it failing, because the model is a girl like on her stomach with her legs up. She's hogtied. So the only point of contact is like her stomach, but you could rotate the model to where she's sitting on her hips or her dirty pillows. So I was kind of like, okay, I'll stop the print and I'll come back and kind of evaluate, because it failed where her hair comes down. And so you've got these supports here that come up to start her hair. And so this one was loose, And then this one, I don't even know where the support for her hair went over here, or maybe it fell somewhere or something like that when I took it off the plate. But either way, it's kind of a evaluatory sort of thing to kind of see like, okay, where do I need to manually paint on supports? Because as you can see right here is really the only place that the model's contacted on the build plate. I manually painted in, added support here, and also the layer height, because this is like a 0.18 layer height. It seems to me that maybe when you have like these aggressive overhangs, you need certainly like a larger, or sorry, a finer layer height. So we'll make some adjustments there and give it another whirl. Next up, after much delay, we finally got all the pieces for our atomic bomb. This one came out pretty good. There was one section that kind of sort of fail-ish. Where is it? Yeah, here on the corner. Kind of pulled away a little bit. So again, this one, I don't know if we'll do it as a scratch and dent, but we can correct all of this stuff because there was one issue here. The model itself looks like when they designed it, I don't know why it made these hollow sections where the fins came in. I guess when they designed it like that, it just sort of negative itself out. The fins actually aren't attached at all to this middle section. You can see it kind of, there's like one section where it kind of fused together, but it's got a lot of play. So I'll have to go into the model and just make it solid all the way through. But for this one, I'm just going to glue it down the seams. At a minimum, it will be good to put it together, paint it, and that way I can get it up on Etsy at least. There's a few other spots where I think maybe here, some of these little nubs, yeah, right here, one of them just kind of clear went through, or maybe it's supposed to be like that, I'm not sure. But let's do a little cheeky assemble right here. It's probably going to fall over and smash into 1,000 pieces. See if I can do this. We're still going. We're almost, I think this is how you do it. Or maybe it's like this. We're gonna go like that. We're one-handing it today. It's Saturday, we're allowed to. And the top cap, I don't know why I made this one so thick. God, this part's heavy. Holy Toledo. All right, one-handed. This is gonna be a disaster. Hang on. Can I grab it by the nub? Here we go. And that's my dog barking and waking up my wife. Pretty cool. That's easily 3 feet tall. How am I always at? I bought like a 24 pack of tape measures and just threw them everywhere so I wouldn't lose them. I have no tape measure here. Yeah, I'm gonna guess this is okay, because this is about 28. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's 28 inches from the desk to the bottom of the cab. Yeah, we're rolling with like 3 feet tall here, so pretty impressive. Should be pretty impressive anyway once I get it all painted up. And sort of the final stop for today, we got our latest succubus model. I might have printed like 10 of these by now, and every one of them takes days to print. But I was doing this one because I've been back and forth on all my filament set and my support settings, because some things work, some things don't. Everyone's got a secret recipe, and none of them work for me, so I'm just gonna like have to build my own, I guess. So I took this off, and I wanted it to cool completely, so I was kind of like pulling some supports off, the easy ones, but it's super duper cool now. It's been sitting here for a while, and so I kind of wanted to peel this off and kind of maybe demonstrate, and maybe people could say like, oh, okay, this, that, or the other. A lot of them are peeling away pretty clean. They're not snapping off though. They're not just lifting off, and I think a lot of that has to do with like there's such a large area of contact and various different filaments that comprise the support itself. So like here on the back, this support is obviously a mixture of red and black together. This is matte black PLA mixed with red matte PLA contacting matte yellow PLA. So it's matte on matte on matte, and it's still kind of gummyish. You're still kind of pulling away, and is that because of like the colorant in the filament is kind of giving it some of these different sort of properties, because the temperatures should all be the same. They're all specified as matte PLA and Bamboo Studio, or maybe it's the difference between they're all bamboo filaments too. Well, actually the yellow is not. The yellow is an Elegoo. But some areas are certainly pulling away pretty clean. Some of the areas where there's not a lot of contact, like here on the cuff, that pulls away without issue whatsoever. But like here on the bottom, this is an area here and then the crotchal region are typically where I have the most problems. Now, I will say that as I'm pulling off these filaments from her upper back, where there's, you know, just a lot of contact points there, that it's cleaner than it's ever been. And, you know, some of this sort of white discoloration, let me cover up her nip here. Like I pulled this, when I pulled this one away, it's just this discoloration. It's not like color from the filament. It's just when the plastic pulls away, one little tap with the torch, and that goes away and you can't even notice it. So I'm not too worried about that. It's more so like when other colored filaments stick to the model, and it's like you really got to dig at them, and like that's just not something I want to do. And again, I understand with these art prints, it just comes with the territory. I'm going to be picking off supports. Additionally, someone did mention, like, you know, hey, you know, you should optimize this for FDM. The artist that does these, I don't think she optimizes for anything, and if she does, it's for resin printing, because these are so complex. And most of the people that are printing these models, the ones I've seen in her Discord anyway, are printing resin, and they're sitting there painting them by hand. I'm never gonna do that. So, you know, I'm kind of fighting an uphill battle there to begin with, you know, printing this in an FDM printer and not a resin printer. But still, I think I can get good results. Additionally, I did change the color. Oops, I did change the color, like on her G string here, because some of these parts were in white. I moved all the white parts into yellow or black, and that way I can not have to run the double AMS. I can print it on the A1, and I thought maybe if I just did it without that white, I just like long suspected that white may be a problem too. Like there's something about that white filament seems different than all the others. But the filaments seem to be coming off pretty good. I think we're on the right track anyway, so I'll continue to do that over the course of today. So the game plan for today, probably print some more of those rolling trays, probably put some more coats of paint, go to Lowe's and get more paint for that big stone D20 cube, and keep printing some concepts here and there. Maybe try to get like definitely get the atomic bomb glued together. Maybe do another print of the atomic bomb in full color on the P1P. Just desk height size, 250 millimeters tall size, just to make absolutely certain that it can print the way it's supposed to print. And then, yeah, just keep chipping away at things. Again, I appreciate all the new subscribers and everyone taking some time to watch me along in this journey. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.